And good morning to you. It's, the second day of January and the second day of 2023. And look at that. That's pretty funny. Let me just correct that really quick. 2023, there we go. We're tracking some fog across the area. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about some severe weather coming to the area later this evening. We'll have all those details coming up in your first alert forecast next on WCOT Channel 9.
Now, first alert weather with Kody McPheron.
All right, and good morning to you. My name's Kody McPheron, getting all these buttons ready in here, so give me just a second to get us set up. There we go. So we are live now, and it's a Monday morning, that's for sure, across the area. As we take a look at our fog map, we just showed you a camera there showing some fog at the Bill Emerson Bridge in Cape Girardeau, and you can see this map pretty much outlines everything you need to know right here. Majority of the area seeing pretty thick fog this morning. As I look outside, I can still see some areas of fog, and I'm in the Stone Fort area, but the fog here is not as thick as it is in other areas. Let's take a look. We're going to do a multi-box, so I'm going to box this graphic on your screen with another camera, just so you can see another look outside. Of course, I set it up in this system, and then I can't find the button. There it is right there. So give this camera a second to update, and here in just a second, we'll get a look from Perryville. This is from earlier this morning, but these cameras take a minute to refresh to do the live output. There's the live output there. So at Perryville, you can see at I-55 some fog. Definitely an issue. So again, there will be areas of fog throughout the morning, so just keep that in mind as you travel about. Now, we've got some severe weather coming to the area, and I want to talk about that. So before we can talk about that, of course, we need to talk about what's going on right now that will lead up to the severe weather later this evening. So we're going to put on some regular graphics that you're used to. Here's a look across the area with all the fine details of everything. As we put all these graphics on, they're all loading on, so give them just a second because there's a lot to unpack here. There we go. And it turns everything off. Anyway. Alright, so current temperatures are in the 50s right now. That fog out there is definitely an issue. As we take a look at the dew point, here's the dew point, 54. And then a relative humidity of 100%. So if you know anything about weather forecasting, which I happen to, thankfully, that is prime for fog. So that's why we have a lot of thick fog out there. Plus, there's already moisture on the ground from previous rain and things like that. So those are literally everything that you need for fog. So you need the temperature to be as close to the dew point as possible, high relative humidity or moisture in the air, and then of course if you have something on the ground that can help to prime it for that fog, of course, as standing water on the ground, which we do, that's what you need for that fog. So anyway, let's get into the severe weather threat as we take a look at the model runs right now. Let me switch this because I'm still on that one screen, and you'll be able to see this model better, because this is looking pretty nasty here. But let's walk through that again. I'll restart it, and we'll start over with that. So here we go. All right, so here we are at 10 this morning. You can see some isolated showers being depicted there. I think that'll be an issue. As we pause this at 4 p.m., things start to pick up and get active to the south and west. And what you're seeing on your screen there to the south and west are some approaching storms. And they'll start to come into your frame right there. Here's 6 o'clock this evening. And by 6 o'clock, things start to pick up in intensity and in coverage as well. Widespread storms look possible through the evening. Now, the models are pulling the strongest storms through during the late evening hours and during the early morning, so that's something I'm watching. Now, right now, something to point out is these isolated cells that are in the Carbondale area. Well, really, that would be in Williamson County, but you can kind of see those individual cells out ahead of that main bulk that's back towards Grandin and Pocahontas, Jonesboro, Dikersburg, and Portageville, in those areas. But if you look off towards southern Illinois, that's those individual cells that I just mentioned, and those could bring some large hail, a spin-up tornado or two, and some gusty winds. Now, as the main activity enters the area and that widespread storm coverage picks up, I look for this to be a mainly heavy rain situation as well as a gusty wind situation. There could be, of course, some hail embedded with any of the storms. Especially indicated by the purple and the white. But what that's really indicating to me is also the possibility of some spin-up tornadoes. So we're watching for that as well, which you'll see here in just a second. This continues through 8 o'clock. Heavy rain, of course, pushing through the area. We'll have rounds of it on and off throughout the night. But you're getting the picture. Then behind it, there may be a break. So although Futurecast is trying to show some storms here at 10 o'clock for Carbondale that are kind of scattered about the region, not as widespread as what's off to the east or back to the west, you can kind of see that clear break. That may not be as intense in coverage. So if we can get that break, that could help to prime us for more severe storms with a second round that comes through early in the morning hours tomorrow. So this looks like this could be a very long situation if this is shaping up, if Futurecast is correct on this, which I do have a feeling it is, based on this latest data. So here's 3 a.m. You can see more rounds of heavy rain, some strong storms coming through, and then finally starting to lighten up by Tuesday morning. This would be 5 in the morning. So we may very well be on the air on and off throughout the night. And like I said, it could be a very long night. Those that do weather know how long these nights can get when we have severe weather like this that goes on for that long. So as you look off to the east, by about 7 o'clock, I expect most of the storm activity to be out of here, hopefully by 7, if the timing is correct, of course. That would be key. But some strong storms in a line that would start to form for portions of Bowling Green, Elizabethtown, those would be moving into their area by the early morning hours. So that's what the model runs show, and then we finally get that out of here. Here's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, and then 10 o'clock. That's the end of our model run, showing you that, well, things finally clear out, hopefully, by then. Let's take a look at some of these other graphics, and we'll talk about the rest of the situation. So here's kind of an illustrated look at the severe threats. We'll show this on a map here in a second, but for the folks that are in southern Illinois, I say central southern Illinois on the bottom portion of the banner. Who I'm talking about when I say central southern Illinois is for people like Carbondale, Marion, Harrisburg. So if you're along anywhere along Route 13, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself when I'm trying to speak, so I'm trying to slow down for you. Carbondale, Marion, or Harrisburg, that's along Route 13, or for portions of maybe Alexander, Union, or Pope counties, we could consider those areas. But once you get south of Williamson, Jackson, and Saline counties is really, I think, where some of those stronger storms could set up. But anyway, for those areas that I just mentioned along Route 13, if you live along those areas or north, we're kind of in that real gray area. So tornadoes, a 2 out of a 3 is slight risk. I cannot rule out a spin-up tornado here or there, but I'm going to say the data is really showing a stronger hint of tornadoes in our southern areas. So once you get into the Alexander, Union, or Pope counties or anywhere south of there, that's where the higher risk sets up, especially south of there, closer to the Ohio and Mississippi rivers. Large hail, 3 out of a 5, moderate. We'll have some cold air lofts, so hail could be possible anywhere across the area, but large hail cannot be ruled out with those individual cells of thunderstorms that would be ahead of that main bulk activity. High winds will definitely be an issue through the afternoon and evening hours. 5 out of a 5 gusty winds, especially inside the thunderstorms. So if you've got any loose objects like I do right now, trash, hopefully they're picking that up today. If you don't, make sure that's secured so that can be taken care of. Flooding is definitely also going to be an issue. I put that at a 5 out of a 5 risk because we're going to have some heavy rain on and off, and we could be looking at upwards of 2.5, maybe even 3 or 4 inches of rain. That is one aspect I still haven't got to look at, so I'll update you throughout the morning on that. Now, let's show this same graphic. Let's talk about it in a map form because the map really is going to help us to illustrate it a little bit better. So here's the severe weather threat. This is the same categorical outlook that I was just talking about, but this isn't a map, as we just said. So here it is. So slight risk, that's a level 2 for portions of southern Illinois. That does include Carbondale. It does not include downtown Marion, but it's close enough. So a slight risk We'll just say a slight risk for the I-13 corridor south. Okay, but the key area, as we said a minute ago, Alexander, Union, and Pope counties, sliding south. So towards Cape Girardeau, Paducah, Rosiclare, those areas that are on this current map, that's where I think, and south of that area is where I think the key area could be for that severe weather, including the spin-up tornado threat. That's the key thing I want to drive home. Now, as we take a wider view, a level 3 threat is forecast for portions of southeast Missouri, especially in the Boot Heel. We've got, I believe that's Obion County and northwest Tennessee is outlooked in that level 3 threat, and that's a pretty strong threat, especially for this time of the year, because we don't really see a whole lot of severe weather now like the South does. So, again, that's a look at some of the threats. This video is kind of getting a little bit long-winded, but I wanted to take a dive into all the threats that we could see throughout the afternoon and evening hours tonight. Of course, I'll be up all day and probably this evening covering this issue for you. So we'll keep watching this developing weather situation. Of course, we'll be on the air, as I just said, on and off all day, so please do stay up to date with me. The main key way you can do that is through my Facebook page, which is where I posted here. I don't really post a whole lot on my Instagram page, but I will go ahead and throw up that banner that does illustrate that for you, so that you can add me on there if you're not already on there. And I will try to post some other updates on there throughout the day. So again, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll be back on here later, for sure. But for now, of course, we're going to tune you back to regularly scheduled programming. The current time is 8:27 a.m. We'll catch you later.